Hello students, welcome to the Veranda IAS. From the current affairs of economy, in this session we are going to learn about Reserve Bank of India's guidelines on digital payment ecosystem. The learning objective of this particular session will be to outline Reserve Bank of India's guidelines, explain the reason for RBI guidelines on digital payment ecosystem being in news. Then we will list the management mitigation measures and we will discuss the way forward with regards to the guidelines. So let's begin first by knowing what the guidelines are all about. Now these guidelines aim to enable customers to utilize digital payment products in a safer and more secure manner. So nowadays digital payments, it may be wallets, it may be online banking, or it may be any kind of product. Everyone is using the digital payment system only, and the number of people using it makes it again a bit insecure. So RBI has to take certain initiatives to make it safer and secure. So these are the objectives of this particular guidelines. So further, these instructions shall, now this is important, these instructions shall take effect 6 months after they are published on the RBI's official website. So they have given the time span of 6 months so that the systems and all those things will implement those measures. Now further, however, for instructions already issued by the RBI's Department of Payment and Settlement Systems, Department of Regulation or Department of Supervision, including those to select regulated entities, the timeline would be effective immediately or in accordance with the previously prescribed timelines. So whatever the guidelines RBI is issuing, for them the timeline is to 6 months, and for these institutions or these departments, if they are issuing the guidelines, they will take the immediate effect. So that will be, as soon as they are published, it will be immediately effective. So further, now what was the news? So RBI's guidelines on digital payment ecosystem in news. So as it was in news, so that's why we are studying. So let's see what the guidelines are. A high-level committee on deepening of digital payments led by Nandan Nilekani recently delivered its report to the RBI in February 2021. So from prelims point of view, first thing, deepening of digital payments committee was led by Nandan Nilekani. So remember this name, remember the name of the committee. Further, after significant consideration and consultation with the numerous stakeholders, the committee issued the findings. So the committee made the consultation, they discussed and they deliberated and they issued the findings. The RBI will now evaluate the committee's proposals and if required will combine them with the recently announced Payment System Vision 2021. So that is the payment system vision of 2021. So if the RBI will go through those recommendations of the committee, it will look into all those aspects, and then if probable, if they are accepted, they can be included into the payment system vision of 2021. So moving ahead, management or mitigation measures in the digital payment. So let's see what they are. The management or mitigation measures are required first to safeguard the security and integrity of the data. That is very important. Data is important, so you have to maintain that security and integrity of that particular data and processes linked with the given digital product or services. So whatever the process that is being carried out by them, that also needs to be linked to that. Further, to ensure that required infrastructure such as human resources, technology and backup is available. So if a digital payment system is being started, so whether the system is having infrastructure or other mitigation measures, whether they are having the infrastructure, and infrastructure involves human resource or the technology and the backup, they will ensure that whether it is available or not. To assure that the payment product is developed securely, that is most important, because if someone hacks into that, then again it can create a crisis for many people. Performs reliably and is rolled out following sufficient testing to achieve the intended full service provider. So obviously testing, rigorous mechanisms, how it has been developed, protection status, network status, every other things will be checked over here. Further, to create development capacity and expansion with scalability in mind to accommodate growth in order to maintain efficient transaction processing. So that is another mitigation measure under digital payment. And further, to ensure that disruption to the client service is minimum. This is again, like many times we come across this time when the system fails and the system is down and then we are not able to do the payment. So system failures from the client's perspective should be minimum, while there is high availability of system channels to avoid technical problems. Further, to process for resolving dispute efficiently and effectively, as well as the management of the client complaints. So these all things are what you can say the mitigation measures which have been incorporated in terms of the digital payment. Now, way forward with regards to the guidelines. What is it? Let's see it. The RBI's new restrictions come at a time when India's booming payments ecosystem has experienced a surge in outages, fraud, and cyber intrusion. So that's why it becomes very important. So when the guidelines are given, but at the same time the challenges do exist, and the challenges of outages, fraud, cyber intrusions, so all these do exist. Then RBI's master direction establishes the required principle for the establishment of strong governance framework and the implementation of uniform minimum security requirement for the digital payment goods and services. So that is the direction in establishing that the required principles, whichever they are, they should be incorporated. They should be incorporated in good governance framework, and their uniform minimum security requirement should be met if you are going through the digital payment systems. Further, the recommendations are to make technology and platform neutral and are intended to create a more secure and enabling environment for users to utilize digital payments solutions. So overall, in simplest sense, what we can say, these guidelines are there to protect the digital payments that we all are doing, and as they are increasing in the numbers, obviously the issues or the cyber threats will also be there. So to address all those issues, we had the guidelines from the RBI. So now to summarize what we have learned, we have studied the RBI guidelines, then we studied the reason for RBI guidelines on digital payment ecosystem being in news. It is the RBI which has announced the guidelines. The management mitigation measures, in this point remember the Nandan Nilekani committee, and then in management mitigation measures how it will be doing that, and then the way forward with regards to the guidelines. So all this was learned in this small session. So I hope you have understood whatever we have discussed in this particular session. It was small, but it was required. So that's it for this session. See you in another one. Thank you.